Okay, as in go? Sorry, 1 second.
Forktales, a podcast that feeds the food and beverage world.
Oh, awesome. Forktales is brought to you by Vigor, a branding and marketing agency for passion-driven, innovative restaurant, beverage, and hospitality brands. Learn more at vigorbranding.com. If you love what we're serving up, please give Forktales a 5-star review on your podcast service of choice. Think of it as a tip for good service. Everyone, today I'm joined by Karl Travis from Hager International. They are an architecture firm, plus a lot more, actually. I'll let Karl give you the scoop on that. Karl, thanks for being on the show. Why don't you tell everyone what you do, who you do it for, and a little bit of the magic?
Hi, Joseph. Thanks so much for having me on your podcast. I've been following you since you started your Forktales, and I'm learning lots, and I thank you for that. My name's Karl Travis. I'm an interior designer. I'm a partner at Hager Design International, Inc. in Vancouver, BC, Canada. And we're a little wet right now because we had some pretty big storms, but we're getting through it. No, I haven't gone out and bought yet, but everybody else is. And I think that's, an interesting sort of thing that's happening up here. But we're hospitality designers, and we specialize in restaurants, hotels, and we also do senior living across Canada and the United States. And we love what we do. We've been doing this for many years. I've been with Hager for 9 years now. And Doris Hager, who's the Hager of Hager Design International, she's been running this for, I'm going to say, over 30 years, and leave it at that.
Yeah.
But, she's grown this business from herself, from Toronto to Vancouver, and has been here for many years. And we operate in the Kitsilano area of Vancouver, which is pretty close to the airport. Not pretty close, but accessible. So, yeah, we do. I personally do most of the restaurant design in the office, and head up a small group of very talented and dedicated designers and technologists to help roll out various QSR clients of ours, as well as we do some one-off independent restaurants that we love to dig our teeth into. So
nice. Yeah, and we got acquainted because we collaborated on a project years ago for Great Wraps as they tried to enter into Canada. It was a really good scenario, and I think we had good dialogue, and then, of course, connected on LinkedIn. And you're very active on there, absorbing articles that are posted. I see us commenting on similar articles at times. And so that's what prompted the reach out. And there's a lot going on in the industry. There always is, but I think right now it's even more noticeable. And from a interior design and architecture and just restaurant quote unquote design scenario, there are so many shifts happening as a result of the behavioral shifts that we saw with humans in general, consumers, and how designers are, I want to say, reacting and absorbing and developing new solutions. So I think in particular, many of the large restaurant brands out there right now have made drastic shifts to their service models. So take your standard issue QSR, fast casual, where you walk up, you order at a point of sale moment, wait for your food and either dine in or take it home. There was light delivery happening. But for the most part, things like drive-throughs were shunned and frowned upon, with especially the higher end QSRs and fast casuals. What are your hot takes on these shifts? And do you think it's an overcorrection?
Well, it was interesting what you said about drive-throughs just at the end there about being shunned. But what also shunned it was city council. that I found that they want to limit the amount of drive-through because of the environmental factor as well, because of idling cars and stuff like that. It just popped into my head, but that was something that that you prompted me on that. But I mean, yeah, it's definitely changed. We all know it. We all see it, and we're adapting somewhat to it now. Yeah, it was just you walk in, you order your food, you get it in a bag, or you get it on a tray, and you go eat or take it away, or maybe there's a patio, maybe there's a drive-through, but I think there is a potential for overcorrection, but it really depends on what as you said, the boardrooms of these large companies have some very smart people, and they pay the money to do the research. So is it an overcorrection, as you said? Yes and no. I think it's giving people options, and it's giving people the option to not interact with other people, um, and but also you can interact with people if you want to. So it's choice. It's all about choice in my mind. So for instance, Shake Shack, we don't have Shake Shack in Canada, but I read a while ago that they had this double drive-through, triple drive-through extravaganza, really. And it was, 2 lanes with menu boards, 1 lane only for app pickup, and then maybe I'm confusing it with Taco Bell or even McDonald's. They're McDonald's is they're way ahead of the game. They always were. Even before the pandemic, they'd started doing curbside pickup,
Yep.
apps, and double drive-throughs. So everybody's kind of following along there, but um, expanding it to the app drive-through. And even pre-pandemic, I was working on a project in Crown Point, Indiana. It was Freshie, which is a Canadian company, and they had a drive-through. And I asked the project manager, I said, "Where's the menu board?" She says, "There's no menu board here." Really? First time I ever heard of it. It's only for apps. So if you don't have an app, you can't use it. But there's still the option to do the regular go in, order from the counter, and whatever. So looking at Shake Shack, they've their model there where they I don't believe they built one yet, and they want to roll out 10 of them. They have the double drive-through with menu boards. They have the app pickup drive-through. They have the option to do curbside pickup. You can obviously probably do everybody's doing the third-party delivery, but you can also order, go to a food locker, pick up your food there. It's all app-based, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then go into the restaurant itself and do the same old. Um, so it's options, it's choices.
Yeah, it's interesting. So, going into the inside, we'll talk about drive through in a minute, but the the locker systems have definitely taken hold. And I think one of the fastest growing franchises right now is a gentleman I had on the show not too long ago, Stratus Morfogen, and he's heading up the Brooklyn Dumpling Shop. And that whole thing is just the locker. So, I don't even think they have a point of sale. They don't have a system or a place that you can order. It's all you order, your food gets put into a locker, you open the locker, you take it, you go. And I would say that is the most extreme shift where you're completely stepping away from dine-in altogether, and it's all automated, which you can see the appeal from investors. It's very low cost of entry. You don't need a lot of labor, and the food is delicious from what I understand and what I've read on Yelp reviews. So that's one thing. And then we just saw, I believe it was yesterday or the day before, Starbucks and Amazon teaming up where they're going to have a non-POS scenario. It's going to be kiosk app ordering only, and you just have a barista slinging drinks. Do you think all of these shifts for optimizing speed of service and adhering to new forms of acquisition will open the door for brands that choose to consider and tailor the dine-in experience? Do you think, I always think for every yin, there's a yang. Do you think that's going to eventually happen after the luster of these shifts goes away?
Um, I think, listen, it's everything again that's happening in the boardroom, and it's the decisions that people are making to best suit what they feel is the direction that they want to go in, and what the future of dining for whatever level it is, QSR, fast casual, fast, um, whatever, whatever you want to call it.
Limited service, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, fine dining and stuff like that. So they're going to make the decisions for what they want to do, and it I think it has a lot to do with location as well. I mean, and rent and leasing and availability. If you and the of course there's the labor shortage. All of these are going to have factors into how companies are going to determine what they want to do at a certain place at a certain time for a certain amount of money. Um, Robotics is another thing that Sean DeVries, who I've met on LinkedIn as well, he's sinking his teeth into a little bit of robotics stuff, and I'm kind of helping him along the way. I think by coming across these great articles online on LinkedIn, but there's that factor too. So it's really it's how companies are perceiving what the future is, and how they want to run their business. Uh, Starbucks, I I used to go to Starbucks a lot, and I'm going to be honest with you, I don't go at all anymore.
Hmm.
I just don't. I mean, I used the app when it came out. I spent a lot of money, too much money, and the local Starbucks closed, so I just don't go anymore. And
Interesting.
even when I go to a regular Starbucks, I don't use my app. I just pay. I don't care about points anymore. So that's just me though. But some
Right.
people are like, "Hey, I just want the damn coffee. I'm going to do my app. I'm going to go in and grab my coffee. I'm going to get on with my life."
Yeah, I had a moment where I met a friend for coffee, and I went up to order, and I got back, and he was like, "Why didn't you use the app?" And I was like, I don't know. I just didn't because I was here and I just ordered." But I think you're going to see a bit more of that. Um, when we talk about that interior experience, for instance, robots, and even a place like Brooklyn Dumpling Shop that I think has a lot of theater happening, behind glass. Isn't there like a desire to stay and kind of hang out and watch? And how do you bridge the gap, or manage a customer experience when you have two drastic use occasions? Meaning, you have the I ordered, I need to get in, I need to get out, which is a hustle, a bustle, it's a movement, it's fast, compared to I kind of want to hang out in this place and I want to sit here with an associate or a significant other of some level. How do you make sure that that hustle bustle doesn't interfere with that quality time? And it seems like quite the challenge.
It would be. I mean, I don't know. I don't know that company that you mentioned, Brooklyn Dumpling, is it?
Yeah,
Um,
that's one of them. But
yeah,
there's a pizza robot
yeah,
concept and things like that
yeah.
happening. So yeah,
There's a robotic paella maker in Italy that I posted something on LinkedIn about, and
nice.
there's it's really interesting. So I mean, it really depends on the footprint and what you what you want to have in the front of house and back house, what percentage wise. But I think Joseph, you had a good sort of thing. It's like, what if people want to stay and watch? Maybe it's a spectacle,
Hmm.
right? Where there's the way to get in and out, but also an area where you can sit and just kind of watch the hustle and bustle of what's happening behind the counter or behind a glass wall with these robots doing this stuff, and also watching the people. you know, I'm a hospitality guy. I spent a lot of years in restaurants. I love social interaction, and I love watching people as well. And I used to live in Whistler, up here, not too far. It's a ski town. Everybody pretty much knows what Whistler is in Canada. But I used to live there and I used to manage a restaurant. But it was always fun just to go into the village and sit on the patio and it's patio rules. You're invisible. Nobody can hear you, and you
Hmm.
just watch people go by, and sometimes you laugh at what they're wearing, or people next door at the other restaurants, what across the way, what they're eating, how they're looking at people and stuff like that. So it's definitely something that I enjoy doing. So, having a QSR, a takeout place where it's you have the option to sit and watch and still have your coffee conversation with whoever you're with. But I think again, it's more options of what you want to bring to that particular space. So it's a conversation with the owner, obviously, and we design for the owner. We don't design for
Hmm.
ourselves because we are not the experts in the field of running a business and how the owner wants to do the concept. What we'll do is we'll take their vision and bring it to fruition and bring it into a living space that with conversations they are hopefully very happy with the final outcome. But that's what I like to do. I like to watch. I like to experience, and sometimes I just like to get in and get out.
Yeah. So a lot, we talked about the boardroom and those conversations, and of course the experts that exist within large teams like McDonald's. There's some folks I know there, and they're brilliant. I mean, they're the deep expertise they have within the organizations is amazing.
Yeah.
But that's them. And I think what ends up happening is those leaders lead by example. They do things, they do all the research, and there's a little bit or a lot of it actually of emulation that happens on lower scale brands. And those lower scale brands could be 100 unit, they could be 50 unit, where they look up and they say, "Oh, they're doing it, must be a good idea. We need to do the same thing but cheaper and easier and better or whatever." And I think I think that's a bit dangerous. However, it's the way of the world. In your experiences right now, if you're allowed to talk about them, how much of that emulation are you seeing? Because yes, of course, you work with larger brands, but I'm sure you have mid scale as well. Are they simply? Are you seeing a lot of this? Like, hey, we used to do it this way. We want to do it this way because we're seeing it happen. And then how do you approach? I think more consultatively guiding them on whether or not that's a good or bad idea, or at least the implications of the decision.
Well, yeah, it is definitely happening. The nice thing about LinkedIn and podcasts and social media is the sharing of knowledge. And there's one thing that has really impressed me and probably a lot of other people is how the hospitality industry came together, um, sharing the knowledge, saying, "Okay, we did this, it didn't work, or we did this and it's working," and and basically saying, this is how we did it. And yes, there are the smaller companies that are looking to the big guns, McDonald's, Burger King, um, which are neither of my clients, but they're doing the right things, and they've got such a wealth of knowledge and people that are working together, and yeah, they're sharing that, they're doing it for one thing. And
Mhm.
I think it's probably best up to the individual of this or the CEO or the team that they have to kind of look at that and take it with a grain of salt and say, okay, well, that works for them, but I'm not sure if it's going to work for us. But maybe it'll work if we do it, kind of twist it around and do it this way. If they come to us with questions and need some of our expertise put into play with it, then yeah, I'd be more than happy to kind of you know help guide or give my angle, a design
Mhm.
angle, and see what how we can help them, because we're trying to you know have them succeed as well. So I think it's fun for one thing, if they want to come to us and get our input, and hopefully, we're open and honest with it, and sometimes we play devil's advocate, but you need to hear both sides of the story, I think. But yeah, there are some companies that we're working with that I'm finding that a lot of companies are looking for drive-throughs now,
Mm-hmm.
right? Whether it's one lane, well, it's always one lane, because I don't think the there's a lot of um, developers that are going to say, "Here, I'm going to build a building with 3 drive-through lanes." It's not going to happen. They're
Well,
not.
yeah, and the cost is just so
Well,
it's
it's real
big.
estate. It's real estate, right? Because
Mm-hmm.
3 drive-through lanes take up a lot of real estate, which doesn't have a building on it, which is hard
Right.
to charge rent. So I think one lane is for the smaller companies is good enough, and they're really working with it. My main client uses just has Zoom timers that they've installed, so they can track from when they get to the menu board order and then get their food and get out. So they're tracking that. They're also starting to install food lockers, and food lockers aren't cheap, right? So I think that's something that is they're hesitant on using. Now you don't need 40 lockers, right? Unless you're
Right.
expecting 40 people to order lunch at once and come in, and they're not investing in these huge lockers. They're smaller. I think they need to look at it and determine the ROI and what if people are going to use them, because if
Yeah.
you buy it and nobody uses it, well, it's a waste of money. And
Yeah.
and so it's very it's getting back to the emulation and stuff like that. Yes, I mean, I've been chatting with various clients of mine saying that you know you don't need 40 seats in a QSR. You don't. Are you ever going to have 40 bums and 40 seats at one time?
Mm-hmm.
Highly doubt it, right? Not to say that they're not a good company, but
Right.
people aren't interested as much as going to QSR and sitting down. When I was a kid and I went to the McDonald's down the street, it'd be packed all the time, but not so much anymore. You want to increase your back of house, because whether you're doing more prep work, more fresh from scratch sort of stuff, um, more takeout, right? So you need to keep the kitchen going rather than the front of house going. So there's more storage. You're not ordering as much anymore, and also maybe you're doing a ghost kitchen or something out of the back door,
Yep.
right? Maybe you need a different refrigerator just for that secondary revenue stream, whether it's a QSR or mom and pop store. It's very interesting to you know to decrease the front of house, increase the back of house, and also make it more comfortable for the people that are working in the back of house. Because in my day, the back of house was just cramped. It wasn't
Mm-hmm.
it wasn't thought of, right? It's just we need dining tables, and the
Right.
kitchen is the kitchen. The cooks are going to deal with it the way that they deal with it. But it's changing. We're putting higher ceilings in the kitchens, stuff like that, and staff rooms and staff washrooms where we can, when we have the space, because it's you're really um, focusing in on the cooks, which has it's been a long time coming,
Yeah.
and it's them that make a restaurant tick, in my mind.
Yeah, it seems like there's just like a I'm gonna make up a word here, an octopusification of
Oh God.
of of the restaurant world. Just thinking of the things that we just touched on right now, emulation can be very dangerous because what you don't see is what it takes to actually activate each and every single one of these shifts that you just mentioned and that we've talked about. For instance, drive through, great. At first blush, if you have someone who's never worked for a brand that has a drive-through. It just seems like it's you get the system in place, the microphone, the headset, yada yada. You put someone there to take the orders, and you just do the orders. But that is the biggest understatement of what a drive-through system actually is. And so my fear is that leaders of smaller brands try to jump into drive-through. They do it poorly, and people get frustrated. People don't want to come back. There's also another additional implication of all of those things that we just talked about starting to happen at once, and that's what I mean by octopusification, because it just seems like there's like many arms that have to happen. So now your kitchen, let's just say all of these trends converge. You have a kitchen that not only needs to master the menu to go out literally the front door, they got to master takeout materials that are going to hold in a locker scenario, as well as the issues of like, when do you fire that food? Is the person coming in right now? And what's right
Mm.
now? Is right now 15 minutes or is it 5 minutes? You also have to teach them how to deliver at scale for drive-through speed. Now the question is, okay, what's priority? The guy in line or the gal in line? Or is it the person that ordered ahead that might be here in 20 minutes, 5 minutes, who knows? Or the person who just, boop, boop, booped on a kiosk out front? So which one gets us priority? Oh, and by the way, we have a separate menu that we're cooking and sending out the proverbial back door underneath a different brand. Oh, and we have that Uber driver slash DoorDash slash Grubhub slash whoever, who needs to pick up their food to take it to the person that ordered. Who gets the priority? How do you fire all of those? And then more importantly, how do you put an operational system around that to train people and prioritize? Talk about a nightmare.
Yeah, my head is spinning right now, and I'm glad I'm an interior designer, and
Right?
not a QSR owner. But yeah, that's a big piece of chicken sandwich to bite off on, um,
Yeah.
or whatever it is, burger, wrap, bowl, something like that. It's confusing, but I think that the ownership has to make those decisions, and when they make those decisions, they can come to us, and we can help implement the design of the space to best suit that.
Yeah.
I think with each concept, whether it's chicken, burger, bowls, wraps, flame grilled chicken, stuff like that, it's going to be a work in progress, and you're gonna make mistakes, and you're gonna not, and you're gonna work around it, and you're gonna just kind of go with the flow and adapt. And we're adapting.
Yeah.
We've been adapting, even before the pandemic. It's just, it's a catchphrase. It's like everybody's pivoting and
Pivoting.
adapting and stuff like that. And we've been forced to accelerate how we think about restaurants and the design hospitality industry, um, on in the office and in the restaurant. It's a really interesting time that we're in still,
Mm-hmm.
and it's going to keep changing. Now, when you talk about organizing who gets priority, yeah, it's difficult. I mean, again, I'll go into a Starbucks when I do, and then all of a sudden I order and I'm waiting, and then five people walk up and grab their to go app order. I'm like, wait a second, I'm right here, right? I'm doing this. I'm face to face. What about me? Right? It's kind of lost. So prioritizing is really, it's going to be a challenge for them, but it's something that they're going to have to manage through technology. And tech is really huge. It's at the forefront right now. So um, I mean, something that we haven't talked about, which might help that, is geofencing as well.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And that's going to kind of help with the right tech. Well, if it's geofencing, you've got that tech. So I know that when I went to a Restaurants Canada, or an RC show in Toronto, there was a company that was a POS system that use geofencing. So I would have my phone, and I'd already have put my order in through the app, and then it shoots to them. They make it, and then I walk in the door, and then they give me the bag. It's like,
Mm.
here you go, and leave. I don't pay anything. Or I could do the same thing with the food locker, but
Mm-hmm.
it's simple. It's just like I don't have to even open my mouth
Except to eat.
and say thank you,
Yeah.
because that's important, right? So
So all of these technologies, for the most part, so this is something that started back when digital screens became prominent as a means to display menus. But some of the things we talked about, we have these lockers. If they're not the actual climate controlled lockers that open up, the tech enabled ones, just cubbies. Um, we have digital screens, digital boards, kiosks, and the list goes on. How do you make those beautiful inside of a space?
that's yeah, that's a good question. Um, I mean, are those kiosks beautiful? They're, you know, on stands. They're big iPads. That's all
Mm-hmm.
they are. Um, I'm not sure about how to design those kiosks, but where do you put them is the question for us, and how do you deal with the flow of people coming in from every different direction, octopusification of people moving, um, and that's just the design process, where you have a footprint, and you figure out where the kitchen's going, where the front of house is going, where the entrance is, um, and the rest, where the washrooms are going, uh, restrooms, and and then you just work around it, and try and sketch it out, space plan it out, and who knows? In the end, it might be beautiful, right? That's what you're trying to accomplish, is a beautiful space, something that's functional. So it's it's um, it's just the process of design, and the first
Mm-hmm.
thing is the programming. So I think that answers your question, but it really depends on what the client brings to you, what they want to incorporate, and then you work with them to design it, and program, and space plan, and come up with a beautiful footprint.
Nice. Yeah. So, last question. What have been some of the most surprising shifts, or brands in general? So, starting it off, like I was pretty surprised to see Panera try to go to a drive-through scenario. Just considering how long it usually takes to get Panera food, I just didn't think it was very much optimized for quick service in a drive-through scenario. Were there brands that you were just like, oh my gosh, I never saw that coming, or that's pretty wild?
Um, there's a ton more brands in the U.S. than there are in Canada, and will a lot of them work up here? Probably. I mean, Canada and the United States are linked uh, closer than we think. Um, we got our first Chipotlane in Canada just
Yep.
recently, and it's not too far from where I am. And I haven't been there yet, but I'll make it there at some point. But it's I don't know if I'm really surprised at a lot of the brands. I mean, a lot of them are doing the same thing, and they're they're feeding off each other. And I'm not saying it's a bad thing that they're doing the same thing, but people want options to, as I mentioned before, to pick up their food, to order their food, but they also want different types of food, right? So it's it's the double, triple drive through at Shake Shack, that will make me go to Shake Shack. We don't have one here, but that is interesting. Maybe I like interaction of people, and I wasn't able to do that during the pandemic. So, I adapted, and I did the drive-through, and I did the app, and it's easy, especially when I want to just go grab food and go back to the office and eat it or whatever. But it's I think it's we're moving in a direction that is good, and it's also bad. Um, Humans are interactive. We're an interactive species, and we like to socialize. And this is almost taking it away, but for good reason, right? It's nobody wants to get sick, nobody wants to, die for one thing. So the hospitality industry is giving you the option, so you're safe, you're healthy, even though a lot of the QSR food isn't healthy, air quotes, but tasty for sure. And it's the options that are great. And I mean, all this new concepting that's going on, like even pre-pandemic, Shake Shack, Taco Bell is another one. Burger King came out with something new, and just recently, Papa John's, which Papa John's is more of an American style uh, pizza place. But we have many of them up here, along with Domino's. Domino's just rebranded as well. But Papa John's is it's a pretty cool looking space,
Mm-hmm.
if you ask me. Um, and then I'll plug one of my clients, Mary Brown's Chicken. They rebranded, about 2 years prior to the pandemic, and their space is beautiful. I think it's a very unique looking place, and I'll plug their chicken sandwiches. They're, in my mind, they're over and above everybody else's. But taste is a personal opinion, but
Well, unless
it's
you're talking about Popeyes, in which case that chicken sandwich is amazing,
it's a good chicken
and that's
sandwich, but
objective.
it is objective. It's a good chicken sandwich. I will plug my client Mary Brown's because it's a really good chicken sandwich.
Yeah.
So and I just was not too long ago, after the opening of the Mary Brown's in my hometown. Fantastic. I've been across Canada. I've been to Newfoundland. I've been to Ontario. I've been to Calgary and Edmonton, and here in the Lower Mainland, and had all the Mary Brown's chicken sandwiches, and they're really good. But this one, I tell you, there's just something about it. It's just excellent.
That's going to
So
be on my list of places to try when I get up to Canada.
yeah,
Um,
yeah, I'll take you there. I'll buy you a
yeah,
chicken sandwich, a Big Mary chicken sandwich. They're
I
really
love
good.
it.
So
I remember seeing it, and then obviously talking about it when we collaborated. But I got to say, I was most excited to finally have a Tim Hortons, because I'm a big hockey fan, and so I've seen Tim Hortons. I knew what Tim Hortons were, but I never had a chance to eat at a Tim Hortons. So my first trip to Canada, on that project, I was like, I got to go to Tim Hortons.
yeah,
So
it's when you think Canada, you think of hockey and Tim Hortons,
that's
because
right.
Tim Horton was a hockey player.
Yep. Yep.
So
It was a moment. I'll be honest, but I appreciate your time and all your insights today. How can people find you and Hager Design International?
we have a website. It's www.hagerinc.com, HAGERINC.com, Hager Inc. And from there, you can reach out. You can find our links to social media. We're on Instagram. We're on LinkedIn. We're on Twitter, although we don't use Twitter as much as the other, Instagram especially. We're on Facebook, and all our links are found on our website. I'm pretty active on LinkedIn and following some really great people. Made some really good connections and friendships through LinkedIn, and I'm learning every day from people you speak to, and other podcasters in Australia, Canada, the UK, and following some really good designers, and just, I'm active there. So if you want to reach out to me, give me a DM, and tell me what you're about, how we can help each other, and yeah, that's about it.
Awesome. Yeah, we'll have all those links in the show notes, and do follow Karl on LinkedIn. When you're not sharing insights, you're sharing a lot of great content from all those other sources, and it's great to see. So again, appreciate your time, appreciate your insights. Keep up the great work, and we'll talk real soon.
And you as well, Joseph. I mean, you're doing great work, and I really got to send kudos to you for bringing many different aspects and thought leaders to your show, and sharing those insights with everybody: designers, restaurateurs, bartenders, servers, whatever. It's very inspiring to hear other people talk about what they do and how they do it. So
Awesome.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. That's honored and humbled. Until next time, we'll talk soon.
If you love what we've served up, please follow us at Vigor Branding on Instagram, LinkedIn, YouTube, and Medium. Forktales is produced by the team at Vigor. Audio and video post-productions provided by Zencaster. Music performed by Jet Trash and licensed through musicbed.com. Joseph handles his own hair, makeup, and stunts. Copyright 2003 to 2021, Vigor Graphic Design LLC, all rights reserved.